you're talking about an H pattern. Now, that's what we were raised on. What the hell other pattern were you running in other cars? What is it?
Sequential. So it's basically just up and down.
It's for wussies, man. Is it? H pattern is the way to go, man. That's how we were raised, Gray.
That's why she said it was an advantage.
I like it.
God, man, we're killing the H pattern when it comes to shifting. What's the problem? Man, she's old. She's 17 years old now. Gray Leadbetter joining us here in the Freak Nation. And Gray, again, keeping track of your career, it's tough for us. What about you, who's driving all these different forms of cars and trucks? And we'll get to that big truck win, but how do you keep track of where you're running, when you're running as a motorsports driver?
I don't. I pretty much just have a list in my phone. That's about it. I try to keep track of everything that I can. People that I talk to, I say, are we actually doing this? Because things tend to change at like a second notice.
Wow. Well, the one thing that, of course, caught our interest was this big truck win that you had. And it's one of many firsts for you running for Ryan Beat Motorsports in the number 28 Bilstein Chevrolet Colorado. And the big deal about this is you are the first woman to win a race in this series. Did you know this going in? That's the first question. And two, is it true that you just had, 2-3 days in the truck prior to this win?
Yeah, it's very true. Ryan came up to me last year at Crandon, which is Labor Day weekend. And then it kind of went silent till about December-ish. And then next thing I knew was we started talking. January rolled around. We started talking some more. I ran in Tulsa Shootout at the Chili Bowl. And then talked some more February. And then next thing you know, he's like, hey, we're going to Elk River to go testing. And this was a week before the first race of the truck. But no, the 28 Chevy Colorado, it held up. And I'm so happy with finishing results that we had this weekend, because my only goal, since I literally had 2 days, 2 days in the truck prior to, was just to finish.
Well, can you explain the pro spec class? I mean, I would imagine that, I hear spec and I hear in my mind, everything's the same with everybody's trucks. So that means it goes back to the driver. You got a first place and a second place this past weekend. So tell me how difficult that was, not just with lack of experience in the truck, but because everybody else is driving the exact same thing.
Yeah, like you said, everybody else is pretty much driving the same thing. All the difference really is between Pro Light is it's a smaller chassis, so all the really old Pro Lights can come and race again. And it's a V6 engine, which obviously makes it a little bit cheaper, and a H pattern transmission, which helps a lot. Preferably I like it more just because my whole life I've grown up shifting rather than driving something automatic, I guess you could say. But I don't know. It's just everybody is equal. Everybody's in pretty much the same truck. It's really just about setup of the driver.
So was the shifting element, do you think that gave you a great advantage going into the weekend, into the season?
I think it did. Because, like I said, I've been driving stick shift since I was 7 or 8 years old. That's the first time I ever learned how to drive H pattern. So you kind of just get used to it. And then going into the truck, and actually in the truck, you don't really need to use a clutch because of the way the gearbox works, which that even helped me much because of driving side-by-sides. Okay.
So 7 or 8 years old. Let's take you back there. What was your first stick shift that you drove?
I think it was like a Ford Fiesta, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't really remember because I grew up on dirt bikes. So then transferring into like 65s, 85s where you do shift on a dirt bike and then using the same mentality for a car, you kind of just get used to it, I guess. I don't know. I think it was a Ford Fiesta though when I was around 8 years old.
Wow. Gray Leadbetter, it's great to see you again. You've grown quite a bit in the last 3 years since we had our last conversation. But you've been driving a lot of stuff. We talked, you were in rallycross. You've been in sprint cars. Now you're in off-road trucks. Is there anything that's at the top of the list for you? Something you want to concentrate on?
I think at the moment I'm definitely focusing on off-road and sprint cars. I've drove so many things ranging from go-karts to sprint cars, and keep in mind, 4 or 5 years ago, I sat in a sprint car. My dad, just as for fun because we had went to a shop with one, and my dad said, "Hey, you're never driving one of those." So if
Nice.
That worked.
But no, I'll drive anything that I could get into. That's pretty much, I think, any racer's mentality, no matter if it's asphalt, dirt, whatever. But at the moment, we're just sticking with off-road and sprint cars.
At the time, you were kind of paying your way into stuff, but it seems like your success may have people coming to you saying, please drive my car.
Yeah, so to put it in perspective, I was with Johnny Greaves, which there's absolutely no hard feelings with them. They're literally like another family to me still. But Ryan Ryan actually called me over to his tent back at Crandon last year as I was just walking by going who knows where. I think I was walking back to our pit. And he called me over and started talking to me and said, "Hey, there's this opportunity coming up with Chevy and us and, whatever." And I kind of was just like, okay, because obviously everything in motorsports is just talk at the beginning. There's no set destination with anything. And then eventually a few months goes by. Like I said, he DM'd me on Instagram because I didn't have his phone number at the time. We started talking some more. And then next thing you know, I'm in a truck and it still doesn't feel real.
Wow. I want you to have such success. We had such a nice conversation before, and you were being coached quite a bit by our good friend, Buddy Rice. Mm-hmm. Is Buddy still in your ear? Is he coaching you, or have you grown beyond that?
I don't want to say we've grown beyond him. It's just moving more into dirt and him being known for asphalt, Indy cars, everything like that. It's kind of just taken our separate ways. There's absolutely nothing against him. Love him. But he taught me so insanely much. And he helped me get into rallycross, which I could not be more thankful for.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
It was still one of the most fun years back in 2019 racing those cars. I wish it could have kept going, but obviously COVID had different plans.
Oh, yeah, COVID changed everything for everybody. What is one thing in particular that you picked up from Buddy Rice's coaching from rallycross that you can translate into sprint cars or to the off-road trucks?
Oh, goodness. There's so many things. I haven't thought back that far in a while, actually. But I don't know. There's so many things. I think majority of it is to just keep smooth. That was one of the biggest things, is to keep smooth and not overthink what you're doing. Because obviously when you overthink, you drive harder and then you just get out of your head and you get out of your mind. And then it just never ends up going well after that.
Championship off-road winner, the first female to ever do it in this series. Greg Leadbetter joining us here in the Freak Nation of Lucas Oil Studios. Let's get back to the basics. You're talking about an H pattern. Now, that's what we were raised on. What the hell other pattern were you running in other cars? What is it?
Sequential. So it's basically just up and down.
It's for wussies, man. Is it? H pattern is the way to go, man. That's how we were raised, Greg.
That's why she said it was an advantage.
I like it.
God. Man, we're killing the H pattern when it comes to shifting. What's the problem?
Blame Formula One for that.
Yeah.
There's nothing like reaching down and grabbing gears. I mean, that's an old saying from Statt, man, grabbing gears. I mean, you grab the gears, right?
Everything that I've raced in off-road has been stick shift. It just hasn't been H pattern because like side by side is an H pattern.
Yeah, where do you get the paddle shifts when you start doing this with your hands instead of grabbing gears? You got a whole other
thing. It doesn't work in my brain. I tried it, and there's nothing against it. It doesn't feel like I should be shifting because there's only two pedals.
Yeah, that's true. I can't get it straight in my freaking Lexus. I'm going, I don't know where I'm downshifting, upshifting, side shifting, or shifting. Like I never get used to it. I just want to reach down and grab a freaking gear shift. Damn it.
You want to be a man, Kenny?
Yeah.
Be a man.
Holy smokes. Jeez. Well, needless to say, Ryan Beat Motorsports made the right call in bringing you in this truck. And I know it's early in the season, and I know, hey, look, Antigua, Wisconsin, it's a great race to win. But really that championship trophy you want to get your name on is Crandon. And Crandon, not just this race coming up this summer, but the one in September. What are the talks about running Crandon? I would think you're going to be running Crandon. And has there been a discussion on how to run Crandon?
There hasn't been. I personally have never run the full track at Crandon, which is normally the championship track. Hopefully we're able to this year because of given the truck count, which Ryan has talks, and there's been many talks that they should be around 8 or 10 trucks by the end of the season-ish. So that'll make it even more excited, and I'm very excited for that because even as we are right now, we're so competitive already as a class. But yeah, I'm excited for Crandon. There's really no telling what will happen. And the full racing the full track, let alone, is going to be enough fun for me.
Wow.
Yeah, when you roll out in Crandon and you see that crowd with that crazy start, I don't know how you don't lose your mind and lose focus in that. I don't care if there's 2 or 10 or 20 trucks, how you don't lose focus with that sea of people right in front of you.
I don't know. You kind of just, when you grow up racing for so long, you kind of just get used to it, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of just like, okay, we're racing. It's like, this is what this is. Obviously, you don't want to be in the back. You want to be in the front of it, and you don't want to see the group of people, but it's racing, so you never know what's going to happen.
Okay, that's interesting to me. So do you not, because you have had so many years of racing yourself, do you not get nervous before any race anymore? Do you not have those pre-race jitters?
I can say that the first time I drove, not the first when we were practicing, but the first time at the track when I first drove it, I was a little nervous just because I'd been on the track before, but it's obviously a new vehicle, new team, everything, which I actually was very happy for. But you just kind of get used to it, I guess. I don't know. It's not that it becomes natural. Well, it does become natural, but it's like the only time I get nervous is sitting on the staging lane right before we start the engine. As soon as we start the engine and we're rolling onto the track, everything goes away, and it's just another day in the office.
Gray Leadbetter, who makes you more nervous, your parents or your team owner, Ryan Beat?
No.
Ryan's not scary. Ryan's not scary. Yeah, no. It'd probably be my parents.
Good for you. And one thing that is another thing that's present that wasn't there before the last time we talked, you're covered with sponsor logos now. You've got Monster Energy, you've got Bilstein, you've got Chevrolet. I hope they're all giving you money because that was something that was very important before.
Yeah, it definitely helps a lot. Chevy, Bilstein, Toyo Tires, Lucas Oil especially, ReadyWise, Ryan Beat, Monster who's on the hat. Everybody helps out so much. I couldn't be more thankful for it. It's a way that it's gotten me here today. Besides the fact of Ryan just randomly feeling like he just asked me. But I don't know. They help out so much.
Looks like the Green 87 is in for an unscheduled pit stop.
It looks like an oil leak, Billy.
For more on the situation,
let's throw it to Mom in the pits.
Well, the Green 87 is in trouble, but it has a long history of finishing strong. So what's your game plan?
What the 87 driver knows is that StopLink has special additives that renews worn seals, reduces engine noise, and oil consumption to protect your engine.
Lucas Oil. It works.
And
well,
wait a minute, Kenny. One more thing. As a dad, when the dad tells you you're not getting in a sprint car, I can relate to that completely. Those things are insane, and the people that know what they're doing bounce them into the parking lot sometimes. So when you get into a sprint car, please be careful. Keep that smile on Dad's face as you go to the front of the line.
Well, I think he's been all the way through the emotions already. Last year at World Finals, we ended up having a part failure. It was actually an axle breaking, which the team had never seen 5 times in their whole career, which is over 10 years. 2 of which happened the week of World Finals. One was me at Charlotte. And the ReadyWise sprint car pretty much just went straight on the wall, which I was perfectly fine. The car, not so much, but the car is actually the one that I'm racing now. We've fixed the chassis. Everything's good to go again. But straight onto the wall, had to change the car, change the chassis overnight, rebuild the thing completely. Went out the next morning. Engine wouldn't run because the mud actually from sliding backwards into the wall after the axle had broken, the mud went straight into the engine. So that obviously made it not start. So we had to change the engine within 15 minutes before going on the track for hot laps. So we had the full experience within the first real full big race of me racing sprint cars.
Wow. Wow.
Well, it's no joke. This isn't a novelty. It is evidenced from rally to sprint cars to the trucks that you're in it to win it. Curious if you've had some conversations with other successful women in motorsports as of yet. And what kind of advice have they given you?
Ooh, I've talked to Corey Weller a bunch. I've talked to Haley Deegan. I've talked to, away from motorsports, I've talked to Ashley Filick, which I guess not talked to, but I've texted her because she is deaf, which is absolutely insane to me that she could ride a dirt bike. I don't know. There's so many girls that I've talked to. There's so many girls getting into motorsports now. Like, for instance, the Lucas Oil Midget race last night for Indiana Speed Weeks. The 4 out of the 5 girls were the top 4 in qualifying. And that is a record for anything that they've done before. So there's so many girls just getting into motorsports recently that it blows my mind even because I've been in it my whole life, so you don't really notice it. But now it's just crazy to see them all coming to the top.
Well, it's good to hear it's not lost on you. You realize it's not a novelty. I mean, this is serious business, and those names that you rattled off, you understand the circumstances behind women winning in motorsports. It's a big damn deal what you're doing, Ray.
Well, thanks. It's just, I don't know, you kind of just, when you've been racing your whole life, you don't really notice it. But then when you see other girls out there winning, that's when you notice it. Because it's like, even though you are a girl and you might be winning all the time, it's whatever. But then when you see another girl, it's like, oh, that's not normal.
And that was you this past weekend taking the win, making history in the Championship Off-Road Racing Series. So yay. So you're a part of history and you're inspiring more women to do it.
I never even realized that a girl had never won a pro class, but then I think about it and I'm like, well, there's not really many girls that have raced pro class. I know Haley Deegan's raced a pro light class a few years back and out west, and then I raced pro mod last year, but we were never able to come home with a win just due to bad luck. But yeah, whenever they said that after I got to the podium, when they just said it to me personally, I was like, oh, I never even acknowledge that.
It's awesome what you're doing, Gray Leadbetter, the first woman to win in the Championship Off-Road Racing Series, flying those Lucas Oil colors. I'm sure we'll see you down the line soon, given the fact that you're just kicking the butt. Gray, thanks for doing this.
Thank you. I'm really happy to have the chance to do it.
Bang. Statt, man, she's grown up a little bit, hasn't she?
Grown up a day or two. I'm really proud of you, kiddo.
I really never realized that you were going to be a part of this. So knowing that you interviewed me back in 2019 is crazy.
Wow.
And just keep a tinge of that innocence. Just a tinge, please. All right?
Yeah, I will. Because I don't remember things anyways.
Meanwhile, keep kicking ass. Yeah. That's just amazing.
Thank you.